Oklahoma's wind energy industry is booming, but that growth is being threatened by uncertainty surrounding the so-called fiscal cliff and the possible loss of a federal tax incentive. The industry is also facing increased opposition from residents who say green energy from wind is good as long as the wind farms are located somewhere else.
Wind turbines are sprouting across western Oklahoma, fueled by the state's abundant wind and a federal production tax credit that helps sustain the wind industry. Former Oklahoma Corporation Commissioner Denise Bodie heads the American Wind Energy Association. Bodie says wind-powered electrical generation in the United States has doubled in the past 3 years.
And it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had the stability of price, particularly provided by the production tax credit being kept whole and not being allowed to expire, as it's pending right now at the end of the year.
Oklahoma currently has 2,400 megawatts of wind energy capacity installed, with construction nearing completion on 2 new wind farms near Enid and Calumet. Kyla McNabb is a wind energy specialist with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce.
We are really a national leader. We're definitely in the top 5 states in that we are going to be reaching 15% of our energy coming from wind power.
McNabb says uncertainty surrounding the federal tax credit could stall further development. She believes companies will be cautious about starting any new construction without knowing whether the credit will be renewed.
That doesn't mean they're not going to be moving projects through pipeline development. It just means that we will most likely see a reduced number of projects actually being constructed and producing power over the next probably year.
Another factor that could limit growth is resistance to the placement of wind farms near populated areas. While some communities have welcomed construction of wind turbines and the revenue they generate, others are saying, not in my backyard. Apex Wind Energy of Virginia has submitted proposals for a 300-megawatt wind farm in Kingfisher and Canadian counties and is nearing completion of the Canadian Hills wind farm near Calumet. Mike Crowley is Calumet's mayor.
We knew there would be an economic boost for the city, and then we look at it also as as creation of jobs in our area, creation of revenue streams for the landowners in our areas.
Calumet schools will also benefit from the increase in ad valorem taxes.
The current ad valorem tax is around $20.1 million for our school district. With the new additional tax created by the Canadian Hills Wind Farm, they will have an estimated $18 million impact just on their own.
While Calumet is embracing the wind industry, it's a different story just down the road in Piedmont. Apex's plans there call for towers to be erected in an area just north of State Highway 3, also known as the Northwest Expressway. Opposition to the $470 million Kingfisher Wind project intensified after residents learned that some of those towers could be located inside Piedmont city limits.
Let's just be honest with it. There's no way I can sell a $250,000 house average out here sitting out there next to a wind tower. This is a big long-term problem that has got to be addressed.
I don't want your wind farm, I don't want your money, I want anything to do with it whatsoever.
Am I going to buy in a town where a wind farm, a turbine can be anywhere in the city limits? No, I'm not. I'm going to go to cities that are considering this, that won't do this.
Local realtor Pam Suttles is leading the opposition to the Kingfisher Wind project. Suttles says her concern initially focused on the tower's effect on property values.
So I started doing a lot of research and studies on property values and found that they would probably fall 25 to 50%, particularly within a couple of miles of the turbines.
An Apex spokesman told the Piedmont Planning Commission the project would contribute more than $400,000 annually in tax revenue to Piedmont schools, but Suttles remains skeptical.
My concern is, as our property values fall from being near these turbines, our ad valorem taxes will fall. It'll offset whatever we get from having the turbines there. So I don't think it's going to be a long-term benefit at all.
Suttles says while Calumet may see an economic benefit from wind farms, Piedmont is in a different situation.
Because we're not a rural community in the middle of nowhere. We're a commuter county on the east side of Canadian County, and people have lots of options within 30 minutes of Oklahoma City of where to live. They don't have to live near a turbine.
Her concerns are echoed by Canadian County Commissioner Phil Carson. He believes the proposed wind farm could block further expansion of Piedmont and other communities in the area.
In the last 10-year census, we had 31.8% growth in Canadian County. And Canadian County is actually the 39th fastest growing county in the United States. And if these wind towers come in here with the offsets that they will have to have off of adjoining properties, I think the wind towers will be real close to your houses and such as that.
The concerns go beyond economics. Suttle says there are health and safety issues, including noise produced by the turbines and an effect known as shadow flicker.
The sound is a huge issue. There's no decibel requirements right now. Shadow flicker, if the sun gets behind the blades and the blades are turning, it's like a strobe light effect on your property and in your land.
There is also the issue of what happens in winter when those huge blades can become coated with ice.
They do throw ice up to half a mile. Some of them could be several hundred pounds, or some can be shards of ice that will fly through the air. So my concern on that is school buses going down the road. There's an area out here called Chester's Party Barn where kids play, go on school trips, field trips. I don't want to be in my yard and have to worry that a chunk of ice is going to go flying through the air.
The wind industry maintains safety procedures are in place to prevent ice throws, and McNabb says concerns about ice are overstated.
Ice throws can occur, but there are mechanisms built into the turbines and how they can turn and feather their blades to do everything possible in order for ice throws not to happen.
An ordinance to permit construction of wind turbines inside Piedmont city limits failed to win approval. Apex is still hoping to break ground for new towers outside Piedmont after the first of the year.